Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Golf Lovers United podcast. I am Golf Love UK, and I am joined by my partner in crime, Pro Golf Critic. How are you, my friend?
Good. Things are going well. I know it's been a really busy week for the both of us. Really busy couple weeks, just in the in the world of actual real work and not the golf world. Thank God the golf world has been like fairly quiet the last couple of weeks because I don't know if we could have if we could have handled that. So all good.
And this is my version of the Jordan flu game. So I'm wearing a Ryder Cup 2023 hat. I'm on brand. It's now coming off. I am cooking. I'm running a temperature. I'm full of snot. Muscles aching. Yeah. I've had 3 days in Glasgow, 3 days in London in the last 10 days. Just early flights out, late flights back. I had a 4-hour delay out of Glasgow, which meant I got into my bed at 4:15 a.m. and then I had to be up the next morning for Alan's mum's funeral. So honestly, I was just
that's right. Goodness. Yeah.
I'm not that we all don't have struggles, but this is my version of Jordan's flu game. I'm gonna post 52 points. I'm with you guys, and that is why we're here. Right, shall we dive into the Ryder Cup? And this is our Ryder Cup special. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Ryder Cup. There's no PGA Tour gossip, no live gossip. There's nothing about any of that. Things will come into our conversations, but this is a Ryder Cup. This is a ride or die Ryder Cup episode. I'd ask you now, Jay, straight off the bat, who wins?
So, great question. So, for anyone who's been following me for a while, you know that I've been very, very, very adamant about this for the last couple years, particularly after last Ryder Cup, where I had a lot of former Ryder Cup players in my ear about like how important the culture is and how important the captains and all that stuff was. I don't think any of that is that important anymore. Like, I really don't. I think that this is really, the Ryder Cup is really specifically about data. It's about simulating the right matchups. It's about simulating the course. It's sort of totally based off of the players that you have on your team, the players that you've selected, their strengths, weaknesses, etc. This has been going now for like since 2014. The data has been heavily used. And because the home team gets to set up every Ryder Cup venue in the course, and it's mostly based off of the data, I think it's virtually impossible for any away team to win now, because I really do feel like the home team's going in up 3.5, 4 points. So because of that, I'm going to be picking the U.S. Ryder Cup team. If we look at everything going back to 2014, the margins just like keep getting wider and wider and wider based on the home team versus the away. And I just think that the home team, even though on paper, Europe probably has a slightly better team, I think that the U.S., because of all the reasons that I said, I just think that going in just automatically up 4 points before anybody hits a tee shot, I think that's going to be the difference. So even if Europe happens to technically win by 2, I still think they're going to lose by 2, because that's kind of what the differences are now. That's a theory that I've had since last Ryder Cup, as I was trying to dig into the data and the numbers and all that stuff. I think that it's an advantage that's way too large now, and it's too much for any away team to overcome. I really do. So, and I'm not saying that because I'm an American, because like this is how it's going to be going forward, unless they make sweeping changes to the Ryder Cup.
What about my prediction, which I made about 5 months ago, before the teams were long four teams were picked? I predicted it would be a tie, and obviously the retaining team get to keep the Ryder Cup.
Right.
I think written in the stars is something quite special, something quite nail bitery. Whether it's the USA down by however many with however many to play, and they nearly do it and ends up in a draw, or Europe have got to win two of the last two to get the draw. I actually think there is a real potential, and obviously me picking the draws, like the one result's going to be the highest odds. It's the least likely for so many different reasons, but I just think it's going to be really, really close. I can see it being a half point either side or a draw. I just think it's going to be super, super tight.
I think that's what I'm rooting for. Like there's nothing I would love to see more than to be proven wrong and like have a close Ryder Cup, because we really haven't had a close one since 2012. I've been calling 2012 the last great Ryder Cup for a variety of reasons. It went down to the wire, obviously. The away team won, squeaked it out by a half point. And there just hasn't been really a close one since, unfortunately. So I would love to see a close one, though. I would love to see it come down to those last few groups on Sunday. I think that it's a great match play course too. One of the things that I think a fair amount of people know, that like I grew up on Long Island in New York, and Bethpage was really my home course growing up. Like I played all my high school matches for the most part. Most of my high school matches were at Bethpage. So I've played this course probably over the course of time, like maybe 100 times. I've estimated, like I've totally lost count over the course of years. However, since they renovated it prior to the U.S. Open going there in 2002, since then, like the majority of times that I played it was probably prior to that. Since then, I probably played it, I don't know, 20 to 25 times, I'd say, over the last 20 years. It's one of my favorite courses in the United States. I think it provides a really unique challenge, particularly for public courses in the United States. It's a municipal course. Like anybody can go up play it for a fairly reasonable rate. Like I think the most you'll ever pay is like, $150, which is pretty good. So luckily, I made some great connections there. So like I get to pay the resident rate anytime I go, which is awesome. So yeah, it's just a really great course. Like I think there's going to be a lot of holes that are going to be great match play holes. And we'll sort of go through some of the holes a little bit. Some of my favorites.
I'm looking forward to it. Oh, obviously we've seen US Opens and majors there, haven't we, Jay? And it's been a course that many people have loved. And I think what I'd love to do now, if it's okay with you, besides obviously the obvious, which I do think the European team is better. I don't think many people are doubting that. But as you say, the home field advantage is a big one. I'm not starting negative. I've seen less. I've felt, obviously we had some fairly significant news in the world in the last couple of weeks with the shooting of Charlie Kirk, which has dominated the news cycle and has also dominated a lot of the news cycle on in sports media. It does seem that there's maybe been less of a sort of hype about the Ryder Cup this year than I remember for the last few years. Like it hasn't seemed to be hype. And I don't know if that's because the news cycle's been very busy with that. Obviously we had Jimmy Kimmel and his stuff going on. And I know obviously we had the anniversary of 9/11. It just seems to be so much of it's got lost in the ether this year with sort of 3 or 4 big news things that have gone on. Have you felt that in the US as well? Because it's palpably not as I like Marco Simone, mate. You couldn't move on English TV or English media or English papers or whatever else. It was everywhere. And also, we've had the Trump visit this week in the UK. So every front page has been about Trump and the royal family. Mm-hmm. And there's, we're not a politics podcast, and I think if anyone tries to draw any opinions on mine either way from what I've just said, they're mental. But I'm just saying the news cycle's been very busy with other things.
Yeah, for sure.
And I actually feel that the Ryder Cup has somehow gone under the radar this year from like a pub. Put this. I go on golf tour, as you know, to Spain. I'm going the week after next. We were talking in our group chat the other day, and about half a dozen of the people who are big fans of golf thought the Ryder Cup was next weekend. They didn't realize it was this weekend.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, look,
I
I
say
feel
this
like whenever
weekend
you,
depends. I'm
yeah,
assuming people are going to be listening to this after that point. You know what I mean?
the week of, yeah, the week
Yeah.
of. Yeah, I think it's been an interesting week. Obviously, with a lot of stuff going on here in the United States, a lot of real life stuff. And I think it's always kind of tricky whenever something so seismic sort of happens. Like, and this has been a huge deal here in the United States, and it's definitely impacted a lot of
I
people
don't
for
think
sure.
you'd believe. I don't think you'd believe how big it's been received over here.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if it's as big a thing here as it is over there. And I
yeah,
don't say that lightly. It's all many people are talking about.
yeah. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with who it was. Except I think it probably had more to do with sort of how it happened, the sort of public nature of the assassination, how traumatic that can be, and people have been sort of flashing back to JFK here in the United States. Obviously, Charlie Kirk isn't quite as large or important of figure as a U.S. president. However, a lot of people had speculated that he could be a potential presidential candidate in 7 years. So, and unfortunately, that won't be the case. However, I definitely think that there has been a little bit of a shift. I think whenever stuff like this happens, sports kind of takes a little bit of a back seat for good reason. However, even for me, like my tweeting has been way down the past week, I'd say. However,
I didn't even go on Twitter or post for 3 days. It just felt
yeah,
everything was just too trivial to bother.
yeah, it's probably a good idea. Just, I mean, there was so much graphic content that was kind of going on the algorithm too,
I
which
kind
was
of avoided
only
it. I kind of avoided a lot of it. I just thought I don't need to be part of any of this.
yeah, for good reason. Except I also think that this is one of the things where sports can sort of help people to recover a little bit, and it provides a little bit of a distraction
100%.
from
100%.
everything going on. And that's really the whole. I mean, I don't want to say it's the whole point of sports, but it's a big thing to like take your mind off of real life. And fortunately, golf the last few years, real life has been sort of intertwined in sort of golf and business and everything going on with its the disruption in golf the last few years, which is tied directly into the U.S. presidency and all that stuff. So however, and I understand there's a lot of people that like really hate that about the direction of golf because they see golf as this like pure thing, shouldn't have politics involved and all that stuff. Except I mean, look, it's just the reality of our situation. However, these really big events, these important events, I think they really do provide a great outlet for people to come together, and I'm sure the fans are going to be very into it at Bethpage for sure. I'd
I
actually
wonder how
plan on
it's. I wonder
going.
how it's going to ramp. Then I wonder how it's going to ramp the next
Mhm.
sort of 3 or 4 days. We're recording this on Friday the 19th to give people a guide. Obviously, when I say this weekend, I didn't mean tomorrow. You know that. I'm just saying for the people that are listening
Yeah,
to it when they listen to it. So
yeah,
I wonder how it's going to ramp over the next week because for the reasons you
I
and I
think
have
it
just
will.
discussed, it does feel like it has been very under the radar.
Well, part of it is also that, like, there have been some pretty big events in golf, the last few weeks as well. Like, the Irish Open has been, I mean, at the K Club that Rory won
Yeah,
was a big event, no question about
fantastic
it,
win for Rory.
for
Yeah,
sure, for sure. And then the BMW
best
PGA
season,
is one of
best season of his life, results wise.
Rory.
Hmm.
I probably put it number two just because whenever you win two majors in a year, like he did in
All I'm saying is,
2014.
all I'm saying is, he rounded out, the Grand Slam, won the Players, won the Irish Open. It's a big I'd say to you, there's no way if he wins an away Ryder Cup, this isn't his best year.
Well, yeah, no, that's a fair point. In 2014, they won the Ryder Cup. I guess that was at Glen Eagles, I want to say, in 2014. So but yeah, there's
So I think you're
no, I
right. Yeah.
definitely yeah. I think and they won it pretty handily, unfortunately. So yeah, I think he would probably put it top two. I mean, for sure. I gotta like we have to be honest. The Players Championship winning that is not as big as it used to be for a variety of reasons. Obviously, because a large swath of the top players in the world are excluded now. When they that wasn't the case a few years back. Can't ignore that. He obviously won a signature event at Pebble Beach. Again, it was a limited field and all that stuff. So like I do think we have to be realistic. However, winning the Masters and the Irish Open, those two alone are a huge year for him. And it's something that like he hadn't won the Irish Open since I want to say 2016. It was actually at K Club, and he came really close last year at Royal County Down. He had a putt on the last to tie, which is kind of what made this Irish Open so exciting, because he had to make eagle on the last hole, and that was a really, really big step for him, because no one's been more critical of Rory McIlroy than me the last 3 years. I think we can probably agree on that.
It does feel like he's got the monkey off his back, and he's now playing with a bit more freedom. When he's up against it, he's happy to squeeze. And I've said to you before, you can talk about all the best golfers in the world. Rory is maybe one of the greatest ever downhill skiers. When things are going right, he is absolutely phenomenal. But let's go back into where I was. Obviously, the Ryder Cup, for various reasons, seems to have been a little bit more under the radar. It should pick up. I know golf fans are excited. Please explain to me the answer, by the way, folks, and Jay, is laziness. The answer is laziness. So I'm giving you all the answer now. And please explain to me why on the team site, when the Ryder Cup is worth so much money, the European team has got everyone in uniform apart from Rasmus Højgaard. Like, it's so jarring. And then you look at the US team, and they're all some are in Ryder Cup uniform, some aren't in Ryder Cup uniform. Like, I know when they first put the photos up, they were all in different places. But they've had them all. They've had all the team together now. They're all in their right uniform. Just have every photo up of all the players in their uniform. In my opinion, it's just so lazy, Jay, and so slapdash. You're worth so much money. This event is brilliant, and you've got people with headshots wearing different clothing, and they just look so non-uniformed and united. I just don't get it. You want to sell merch? To be honest,
European team is basically the exact same as what it was in 2023. So it's very easy to take the photos that you had in 2023.
Yeah, but they're in their new uniforms now.
Are they? Okay. Well, still, either way, like I think that's they kind of knew who the team was going to be for quite some time, and I feel like the US team, there is obviously a few rookies on it. A couple of the picks that we weren't really sure of, like the European team, like we were pretty certain of basically all the picks for months now, really. So, and granted, Rasmus Højgaard qualified on points kind of at the last minute, but from everything that I heard, he was pretty much always going to be picked because he was really high up in the points anyway. And he's the only rookie that's on the European team. So I think they've got a lot of continuity from 2023, and the only difference is, instead of Nikolai Højgaard, last time around it's his twin brother Rasmus. So it's basically the same team. The US team, I feel like the US team doesn't have like nearly as much continuity as, and also the European team obviously has the same captain that they had last time around. And the US team now has Keegan Bradley. So, and I do think that the European side, I feel like, has always been generally more organized, sort of well organized, and sort of more unified than the American team. And I think that continues on now, like even with all of the divisiveness on the European side, having like some of your great European players sort of cast off from, the Ryder Cup team, whether it be Sergio or Poulter or Westwood or Casey, go down the line. And I think that the American team, though, we've got 4 rookies on the team, so there's not as much continuity there. And it's a TBD if Keegan Bradley's a good captain or not. Like, I'm not sure. As long as he uses the data to his advantage, he'll be fine. They'll win, and like he'll go down as a good captain.
It doesn't look. For anyone that thinks I can be anti-American, I think everybody knows I'm a huge fan of the US. I spend a lot of time there. I hope we stand on your throats and squeeze this event, obviously. But I'm just going to say, when I look at the vice captains for Europe, I feel there's a lot more experience there and a lot more. Not gravitas is the wrong word, but you've got both the Molinaris. One was vice captain last time. One's been a very successful player. Thomas Bjorn, previous captain and vice captain. Jose Manuel Lozabo, previous captain and previous vice captain. And I look at the US team, and I'm not really sure quite in the same way who Bradley's leaning on. We've got Jim Furyk, obviously a legend of the game. And you've got Kisner, Simpson, Snedeker, and Gary Woodland. Now, I'm not saying vice captains win you the Ryder Cup, but you're talking about leaning on data and leaning on that. Leaning on data does involve being able to lean on those vice captains. They've got to carry messages. They've got to be able to do stuff, whatever else. And I look, and if the vice captain's worth half a point, let's say they're worth half a point over the entirety of the 3 days, then you're who knows? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It could be the odd shot. It could be the odd shot called here, the odd bit of information there, the odd bit of whatever. Yeah. And that American Ryder Cup vice captains is not. It's not even the same league, Jay.
It's not great. They have one guy that was a former captain, Jim Furyk. He's probably the one stalwart there. Brandt Snedeker, I think, is a reasonable leader. Like he's been a part of the PJ Tour and for a long time, 20 plus years, and I think he's been I think he's a smart guy. I think he knows his stuff. I mean, Webb Simpson, Kevin Kisner, and Gary Woodland. Like, I'm not really sure about that. Like, obviously, I feel like Keegan Bradley would be much better off if he was leaning on someone like Phil Mickelson or Tiger or like one of those great leaders. But like Tiger and Phil should be captaining. They shouldn't be vice captains. So
I did read somewhere, and I hope this is utter shite, that vice captain pick of Kisner was because they'd like Kisner to be the Ryder Cup captain or the President's Cup captain in the next couple of go rounds. I love Kis. I find him good fun, but it's almost become a little bit of fun in and of itself, and I don't. Yeah, I don't think, like, if you got Phil Mickelson not being captain or vice captain and you got Kisner doing it in front of him, then golf is truly broken. And if you're one of the, take the money, taking the money, not being on the PGA Tour has got absolutely nothing to do with the Ryder Cup.
100%. Although we have to admit that the schism and the divisiveness in golf has impacted the Ryder Cup for sure. No question about it. Because someone like Sergio Garcia, even if he wasn't going to be picked to play on the team, like he should have been a vice captain. He should have been there.
Oh, not even Poulter or Westy or Stenson.
Well, the difference is like they have these like stupid rules about being European Tour members. That still has to be fixed, and we all know that they can make up rules as they go. That's not a question. However, Sergio had already taken steps to maintain European Tour membership in order to be part of this team, and instead they take Alex Noren as as a vice captain, who probably would be better off playing the way that he's playing now because he won the BMW PGA just last week. So, and some of these other guys did not play that tournament well. So, including the two the Højgaards. So, yeah, it's a little bit. I will say, as much as I love Bethpage, I love team events. This like ongoing schism is still, it's taken some of the shine off the Ryder Cup for me. There's no question about it. Like, I don't have, people think that I'm like automatically rooting for the American team, and I'm not really. Like, I'm very impartial. Like, I have no skin in the game here in terms of who wins. Like, I really don't anymore. Until they get like someone like Phil as captain, and until you start integrating some of these great players from the past that have been cast off, like I'm not as into it as I could be. So there are things that the PGA of America still needs to do. There's things that the European Tour and the European PGA still need to do in order to help heal golf. Because as much as we don't want to make this about LIV, a lot of stuff is still about LIV and not necessarily about the league itself, but it's about like all the various impacts that LIV has had that's led to this like schism where you've got other players that under normal circumstances probably would have been picked for the team. Patrick Reed. No one has a better Ryder Cup record than Patrick Reed. You're not telling me Patrick Reed would be a better player on his team than Ben Griffin or Sam Burns or one of those guys? Like, of course you'd rather have Patrick Reed. And if he was getting points for playing in LIV events and all the other events he was playing in, he probably would have been high enough where he could have been picked. So even with all the other politics going on, like, I still think you want guys that are going to help your team. And Keegan Bradley made it very, very clear that he wanted the top 12 Americans that were going to help the team win. I don't think the team that they have now is the best that it could be. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be one of those people that are going to be campaigning for Brooks to be in it. He's playing well today and yesterday,
right,
but look, Brooks isn't in form. I'm a huge Brooks fan. I'm a Brooks truther. And I'll tell you the truth, he isn't playing well enough at the moment to be considered. I look at that American team, and ironically, and I know why he did it, but the two players not an American team that should be. One is the captain; he should be playing instead of Sam Burns, and P. Reed should be playing instead of Ben Griffin. I understand why he didn't do it. You don't get many chances of being captain. I understand all that, but you swap in Reed and Bradley for Burns and Griffin, and that's a much better American team.
And you make Phil captain. Like, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this team is completely stacked. Like, so
Phil,
like I said,
Phil captain with those sunglasses on, walking around, swaggering around, like just.
And Phil's a great leader. Like,
it starts to strike fire into the European team.
No one's a better leader in pro golf. This has been proven.
This is this drink, by the way. It's what do you guys call it? It's like a Tylenol. You guys call it. It's called Lemsip in the UK. I've got a cold Lemsip. It's going down great.
Probably Theraflu. Shout out Theraflu. No, Phil Mickelson, like, no one's proven the last 3-4 years he's one of the best leaders in golf. Like, he's one of the players that helped launch LIV. Like, if there's no Phil, chances are there's no LIV. So, I mean, he's proven that he could galvanize the troops and galvanize players to like come together for a common cause. So, I mean, like, again, I think Keegan Bradley getting picked.
They don't want him getting too close to JJ Spawn all week, do they?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to stop any of that stuff regardless. Yeah. So they're not, they didn't stop Bryson from going to the Walker Cup and all that stuff because there's players at the Walker Cup that have interest in LIV, all that stuff. And there's other,
JJ's going to look so good in the high flyers, hasn't
he? I got a question for you then in that case, since we're sort of on a little LIV tangent. We've got 3 LIV players in the Ryder Cup. If you were to handicap 2026, how many players from this year's Ryder Cup are going to be playing on LIV in 2026?
JJ Spawn. Sepp Straka.
I didn't know you'd be naming names, but you know,
probably both the Højgaards, possibly Bobby McIntyre. I'll give you 3.5 as the over/under. What are you going for?
Oh wow! So you're going a total 6.5 players from this team, including Rahm and
3.5 new ones. Yeah,
and Bryson. Okay. No, I was probably going in the same ballpark.
No,
sure.
Well, you can't go same. You asked me to set a bloody line. I've set you 3.5. You're going 4 or 3. Come on.
All right. I was going 6 total. So including the 3 that we already have and 3.
So you're taking my
that
under.
aren't currently on this. So yeah, I'm going. I was going 6 total. That was kind of the look. It could very well be more than that if a couple things pop off the next few months, but. Which is still, I think that it's more probable than not that things become very aggressive this offseason from what I've heard from a variety of people.
Well,
that being said,
there's two things at play, and you and I both know this. So if the information I was given is correct, LIV have made a conscious decision to make no announcements until the Ryder Cup is done, dusted, and sealed off, because they don't want to take the shine away from it. And I like that about LIV. I like the fact they're being good about that.
Of course.
I've also been told no decision's going to be made until the OWGR decision comes through, which I was told, and I don't know if this is true, and if it is, I'm really pissed off because I'm meant to be in Abu Dhabi chilling out. I mean, told us the 22nd or 22nd, 23rd of August, the decision's October decision's expected.
Mm.
And if that's correct, it
sounds
means
right.
I'd have to be bloody tweeting. I'm meant to be on holiday.
Yeah,
I hit up Anna Barn, Tom McKibben, and Maron can see if they want to come join me for a round while I'm over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
What a better way for them to spend a random day in October than watching me lose balls in a lake.
Well, I think the timing of that might be around when the last 2 European Tour events pop off as well. So, like, because they are playing, yes, Abu Dhabi is a Rolex Series event. That is the first playoff event, and then obviously the finale at Jumeirah
Let me have a look.
States.
Let me have a look.
I believe that is, I've got the schedule here. No, it's the first week in November. So it's November, the first 2 weeks in November is when the European Tour playoffs are. And there's a gap in between the regular season, which is the end of October. The last event's the Korean Genesis Championship. And they've got a lot of great events like the last, after the Ryder Cup. We got Dunhill Links, we got Spanish Open, we've got a new India Championship. It's going to be interesting. Rory and a bunch of the Ryder Cup guys are going to be playing in that. So yeah, it's going to be.
I did think it was. I'm not saying it doesn't always happen. I'm not saying it doesn't always happen, but it does seem the Ryder Cup is very close to Dunhill Links. I don't ever remember it being as close as it is in date. That's just maybe me misremembering all different schedules. I know when we had Flush on it. When we had Flush on it a year and a bit ago, I mean, he was talking about the rescheduling of the DP calendar, how stuff had moved around. And I don't know if we probably didn't touch on it, but he was talking about how there was more stuff being moved around in October, November, December, and the January stuff. And I actually think I don't remember the Dunhill Links being 4 days after the Ryder Cup. In fact, I'd stake my life on it that that hasn't been the case.
No, it hasn't been that close. There's usually another event, and they also moved the Ryder Cup date around a little bit too. So there's a little bit of variance in there as well.
In when it was at Celtic Manor, it was the first week in October, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's been like
I remember every single person from the UK going, "You're hosting an event in Wales in October, hoping for it not to rain." Christ, that's optimistic. That is.
Yeah.
It rains heavily in August in Wales. For Americans that don't know, Wales on our west coast, it's midway up. It's got virtually the same climate as Washington State. It's very, very, very wet, very grey. It does have lovely days, and Wales is a beautiful country, but Christ, it can be bloody wet.
Yeah, 2010, it was the first week of October.
Yeah.
They've had some others, like Valhalla was actually like earlier in September. It was like September 19th. Except it's been generally in that sweet spot from like mid-September. Like there was even one going back to September 13th in like 85 at the Belfry, and we've had like October 16th. So it's basically like a month of variance there. So like they can sort of switch around a little bit. Rory usually plays in the Dunhill Links. He is not committed to that event just yet. I think it's pending what happens with the Ryder Cup for sure. But I still think the Dunhill Links is going to have a great field. Cam Smith is playing in it. Brooks is playing in it. DJ is playing in it. There were some weird rumors out there about DJ canceling his live contract and planning on going back to the PGA Tour. If anybody sees those rumors online, please just ignore them. I literally talked to DJ's team earlier today. They were laughing about it when I asked them about it. He's doing a lot of great prep this offseason. I think he's going to have a really great season next year. He's working on some equipment stuff. There's a little bit of a Titleist thing going on. He already switched over to a Titleist driver and the Pro V1 ball this past year. So yeah, keep an eye on DJ's bag next year. I think it's gonna be interesting. So
yeah, and that list, entry list for Dunhill is actually really, really good, and we'll cover that. Well, I should cover that near the time. We won't have a chance, but we might do. Who knows? If I don't die today on an overdose of Tylenol, and I tell you what, I've got in my cupboard in the kitchen. America does the best drugs. I've got some NyQuil.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
I've got some NyQuil and some Dayquil. As soon as I finish this podcast, that NyQuil is going to get nailed straight to bed. I'm going to put Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Netflix. I'm going to fall asleep listening to absolute dross. Now, my one thought around Europe and the Ryder Cup, and where they could come really unstuck. Lowry and Straka, since they had that head-to-head with each other, wasn't the Travellers? I can't remember what event it was. It was in May.
Yeah, that was the one in Philly at Philly Cricket. Was the Truist Championship.
Truist, that's it.
These names of these tournaments, it's like you try to pull them out of nowhere. It used to be the Wells Fargo, and now it's the Truist. Just
since they had that head-to-head ding-dong in May, I wouldn't say they've had good rounds. I wouldn't say either of them's had a great season. And I think, I'm not saying the Americans had a great season, but for me, I think it's been really key to see how Straka and Lowry fare. Højgaard's obviously in his ones playing. Højgaard, Rasmus, and a couple others vomited all over Wentworth. I don't feel the European Ryder Cup team is going in. Hoberg's had a couple of decent rounds. Fitzpatrick is actually rounding into form at the best time. He started off poorly this year, but it's got better and better and better. Tommy with his big win. Tyrrell's played well on Live and obviously won the team championships. Victor, I don't know what's going on with Victor. Big Bob McIntyre's had a fantastic year. He's either had the best season or second best season in his career. John Rahm, fresh off of the team championship in second place. And Justin Rose has had an absolute Indian summer for his career. He's rolling back the years and playing brilliantly. But that does leave Højgaard, Hovland, Lowry and Straka with a few question marks over their play. Do you see those four as being where Europe can win or lose this?
No, I still think the Ryder Cup comes down to how your top 8 perform, and I feel like
so again, are you saying then, in your opinion, then they wouldn't, despite Hovland being one of the best names, are you saying at the moment they would be your bottom 4 players for Europe based on form in the year so far?
I think bottom 4 players.
You're saying about the top 8, and you're saying those 4 aren't going to be the secret. Then I'm wondering what your thinking is on where you see those 4
I've got a different bottom 4. I've got a different bottom 4.
Well, there's a great question. Who's your bottom 4 in Europe then?
Bottom 4 players on Europe, the guys that I think are going to play the least. Matt Fitzpatrick, Sepp Straka, probably Rasmus, and I think Ludwig. As quiet as it's kept, Ludwig Aberg has not played well since April. Like he had a reasonable start to the BMW PGA. People were in my messages saying, "Oh, Ludwig's coming." I'm like, check with me on Sunday about this, and he finished tied for 19th or something like that. Like he had a horrible weekend. I think he's been very inconsistent. I don't think his confidence is where it needs to be, which is why I think they're going to try to hide him a little bit, and they could pair him up with Hovland or something like that, possibly, because obviously him and Hovland made a great team last time around when they beat Scotty and they beat Brooks Koepka like a drum 9-7. Like I could see something like that happening again, maybe. Except that was mostly Hovland. I think Hovland's a great match play Ryder Cup player. Ludwig's stats the last time around were not that great. So I think they're going to try to hide him a little bit. I think he'll probably play 3 sessions if I had to guess. And some of these other guys, Rasmus might only play 2. I just think that there's They're going to have to figure that out. I don't know exactly what the comp combinations are going to be, other than like I can't imagine they're not going to put Rom and Hatton together and have them play
if
leadoff day one.
this is what we're talking about, then it's just even more of it. So you and I have got a couple of players in common there in our bottom four. Why has Marco Penge not been taken? Like, he's just been so. And I know people hate to say about the old guard and the establishment, this, that, and the other, but the old boys club, Marco Penge should be there. I'm not going to argue Ludwig. I'll let you have that one as an argument if you want to have that one. But for me, over Lowry and Rasmus Højgaard, 100% I'm taking Marco Penge. 100%. And probably, possibly over Straka as well.
I think one of the things that I've been really, really big on is I think that having 6 captains picks is too many. I think that it brings in bias. It brings in all this other stuff. The
8
two
and
teams
4.
need.
I've said it should be 8 and 4 forever.
I think 10 and 2. I think 10 and 2 is much better. And they need to adjust these points, because the way these points are, like they need to incorporate live events, because I mean, you got John Rahm 24th of the points. Like, I mean, it makes no sense. Like, you think John Rahm's the 24th best European? Of course he's not. They need to figure that out. And if they figure out fair and sort of equitable points, then you can take the top 10, because even if you took the top 10 this year, it would basically be like pretty much the same team. Like, it's basically Victor is 10th, Ludwig's 9th, Straka's 8th, Lowry's 7th, and Fitzpatrick's 11th. So they basically took the top 11 in points and then took John Rahm. So obviously you're not going to take Penge over Rahm. So they need to figure out these points. And then you had Matt Wallace 12th, Thomas Dietrich 13th, and Marco Penge 14th, and Aaron Rai 15th. So could they've gotten more points for their play on the European Tour? Probably, but these points, they need to fix it for next time for sure. Everybody knows.
So that's where we are in Europe. Again, apologies everyone for me, anyone who's watching on YouTube, I've been sneezing and blowing my nose. I have been muting it. I am. You can even look at my eye. Look at my eye. My eye's already started to swell up. I mean, I'm sick as a. But we are getting this Ryder Cup episode out right. Let's look at that US team, because I think the US team has got some really strong players when you look at it, when you consider existing form, and they've played of late, where they played this year. You can look at Sam Burns, good US Open, not a stunning year in many ways. Cantlay, not. He's only just finished that round.
Bad year. He had a bad. Generally speaking, a bad year this year for sure.
Bryson,
they got picked for a prior performance. Cantlay got picked for a prior perforance for sure.
Yeah, and Bryson's been great. Harris English, we all know my love affair with Harris English. Ben Griffin's had a good year, but I just don't think he's yet of that quality. Russell Henley's had a good year in many ways, but when you say Russell Henley, do you think, oh, Ryder Cup star? No.
Morikawa, he's a rookie at 36. Those guys usually don't play well. Let's just be honest. So we'll see.
Morikawa, there's a lot of 32, 33, 34 plus rookies that have come in and been absolutely dreadful. Morikawa, he's not had a brilliant year. It's been up and down. Xander, the same thing. Cam Young has played very well the last sort of 4 or 5 months. Deserves to be picked. JT,
I think this course fits him too.
Yeah,
Cam Young, I think is going to be. I think he's going to be an important member of this team for sure because of his length. I think he pairs great with Bryson because they play a similar ball. They basically play the same ball. So I think it's going to be.
Cam Young and Bryson just play together the whole time and just try and dominate the course and smash shit out of everything.
Yeah. I think that could be a really magical group. Who else would you pair Bryson with? Because I was kind of struggling other than Cam Young.
Well, the ball thing's really difficult, isn't it? That's the problem. That's the problem.
For foursomes, particularly. A 4-ball, you can fudge it a little bit more. Like, would it shock me if I see Bryson pair with like Morikawa? No, like I think that's kind of a good combination. But and I know Bryson and Scotty have played together previously. I'm not expecting to see them play though. I just think that you got to utilize them in different ways.
I actually thought that it depends how it depends how Keegan Bradley wants to blood Ben Griffin and Russell Henley.
Mm-hmm.
Because depending how you want to blood them, you want to get them to have. You don't want them you don't want them to sit and only play singles or just play one of something.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
So I actually wrote down that the two players I saw, or the player I see Bryson playing with for sure is Cam Young, and then I actually wouldn't be surprised if he played with Ben Griffin once or Russell Henley once, and send them out with the big gun and go, there you are, boys. See what it's like hitting from 70 yards up the fairway. Because it could really work.
That's where I see, like, even though they play completely different balls, like I think Bryson and Colin Morikawa, like Bryson's distance and length, Morikawa is great mid-iron because, Bethpage is going to be a test of how well you hit your mid-irons, assuming they set it up the way I think. And it's a very long course. It's one of the longest courses in major championship history. It's probably the longest course in the history of the Ryder Cup. I got to verify that. Except length is definitely going to be a huge advantage. I think there's going to be a lot of mid irons hit too. We'll see if they make it firm and fast. Like, I feel like they're going to make it play pretty soft. I was looking at it. It looked very green the last time I saw it. So I think it's going to play pretty soft, which, I mean, we'll have to see how they set it up exactly. But, and then, there's like, I think, I mean, the U.S. team definitely has some weak links. Like, there's no question about it. Xander's not playing all that well right now, except I think that he'll find it. As quiet as it's kept, Scotty Scheffler does not have a great match play record. Like, he doesn't. He has a
best player in the world, and best player in the world. It'd be interesting to see how he comes, how he adapt. And again, Tiger wasn't the best Ryder Cup player.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Tiger wasn't the best Ryder Cup player.
Yeah. It wasn't necessarily his fault most of the time. Like, some of the folks that they paired Tiger with, which is just like kind of a disservice to him. But I think now
it was almost like they thought Tiger could win it on his own.
pretty much. I'll never forget the Tiger Phil thing in 2004 that Hal Sutton did. Like, he didn't tell anybody that he was going to do this until like 2 days before the tee off, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you need to be planning this weeks, months in advance, and it's part of the reason why the U.S. got completely drummed on home soil that year is because there was no data. I mean, Hal Sutton was like completely rogue. He was going off a feel. I mean, him and Tom Watson are probably the two worst captains I'd say the U.S. has had, other than Zach Johnson. Obviously, that goes without saying. But so I think
Zach Johnson is one of the worst captains in any sport ever. Right.
Yeah.
People, you know the phrase, I'd run through, my leader's so good, I'll run through a wall for him. I don't think anyone would run through a tissue paper for him.
No, not at all. Not at all. For sure. So Keegan Bradley's an upgrade on that for sure. And Luke Donald's obviously proven he's won a Ryder Cup already. Really quickly, I want to shift to the course.
Do you like Luke Donald? Do you like Luke Donald being captain again straight away?
No.
Or do you think he's
No. We can't do this.
I'm really torn on it. I'm really torn on it.
You're taking a spot away from somebody else. Now, I'm fine this time around because so many of the great European Ryder Cup potential captains are banned right now. So we're talking Poulter, we're talking Westwood, we're talking Stenson,
McDowell,
Sergio, McDowell, like all those guys are banned. So it's like
Keimer.
Keimer too. Like, and all those guys had a chance to be captain. Like, some of them probably still have a chance. Like, you got to find a way to make Ian Poulter a Ryder Cup captain at some point. I don't care what rules you have to fudge. You got to figure that out because his name is synonymous with the Ryder Cup and the European Ryder Cup team. Like, you can't go through the history of the Ryder Cup without making Ian Poulter a major player because he was one of those guys that was going to get you points. He's just like an absolute bulldog in match play. And he's one of the great players of all time in this format.
Yeah. arguably, you say Ryder Cup, Europe, you go Seve, Poulter. Those are the first two names that come to mind. And for people who are 4 or 5 years younger than me, who are like 37, 35, they'd probably say Poulter before Seve.
Probably, which is crazy, but yeah. Or Sergio first. Like, honestly, Sergio has the most amount of points.
I
in history.
I don't think he's had quite the same visuals in his winning, and in the same way that Poulter's had.
Yeah, Poulter 15, 8, and 2 Ryder Cup record.
That's mental.
Sergio 25, 13, and 7. No one's won more points in the Ryder Cup than Sergio Garcia. That goes totally unreported. That Sergio Garcia, he won over 60% of the points in his matches. Like, I mean, he's got almost twice as many wins as he has losses in the Ryder Cup, which is like crazy. So, yeah, his record is the best, like pretty much by far. Like, a couple of the others that were a little surprising to me. Colin Montgomery, totally underrated, great Ryder Cup player. 20 wins, 9 losses, 7 ties. Pretty good. Seve 20, 12, and
again,
4.
Not a loved bloke, Colin Montgomery.
No. And I never understood that. I liked Monty. I always did. As an American.
I kind of do like him, and at times I think he seems very affable. I have also seen him at a tournament be exceptionally rude to someone in the crowd. I've seen him be a bit bombastic. I've seen him be. I saw a fellow player say about him, and I won't say which player. Just ignore Monty. He can be a bit of a dick. Now, when a player is saying that to a fan, because Monty's just sliced one into the 5th or the lake on the 5th or 6th at Celtic Manor for the Welsh Open, and he sliced it in there, just like the Monty cut, overcut it, and he's turned around on the tee box and basically just scolded this woman who didn't speak, didn't say anything, but Monty couldn't take the blame. And I was working for Zurich back in those days, years and years ago, and we used to sponsor we were co-sponsor the Welsh Open along with Saab, and I was I was on the tee box, and I was just like, God, Monty can be so grumpy. And then I walked with him for a little bit, and he was really grumpy again. And then all of a sudden he switched and was really lovely, affable, fun, jolly Monty. And it's like, oh my God, like I can see why when you speak to 10 people who've come across him, you get 50-50 on those different stories.
That's fair.
I've had 2 interactions with him, and both of mine have been lovely. I have seen other people have interactions with him left a little bit to be desired.
I haven't had any interaction with Monty yet. Shout out Monty though. Definitely want to chat with him at some point. Really quickly, because we talked about them earlier. Tiger Woods' record in the Ryder Cup. I can't believe how bad it is. Holy moly. 13 wins, 21 losses, 3 ties. Horrible. Like, the greatest player ever. Horrible Ryder Cup player.
Yeah.
Phil, my guy Phil. I know he doesn't want me to say this, but 18 wins, 22 losses, 7 ties. So Phil actually has the most amount of Ryder Cup losses of anybody in history. Tiger's next, 21. Furyk and Lee Westwood have 20 losses. So it's a lot. Faldo, 19 losses.
Westwood's played a sneaky amount of Ryder Cups, because he went when he was 18, wasn't he? And he played in that one. He played in it before Poulter did, didn't he?
47 matches. There is 2 players that have played the most amount of matches in Ryder Cup history. Lee Westwood, 47, Phil Mickelson, 47. Sergio's next, 45, then Faldo, then Longer, then Seve, then Tiger.
Yeah, so you are likely to have more losses if you played that many more matches, but still.
Yeah, but you got to have a winning record still. I mean, that's
right. I ask you now, obviously I'm on the point of dying. I ask you now, as a former regular at Bethpage, I want you to pick out 3 holes for me. That you just 3, and you think. In fact, do me a favor.
I had 6, so yeah.
Yeah,
I'll narrow it
pick
down
out
to 3.
pick out 3 and go over 18 because it could come down to 18. So do 3 holes and do 18.
Okay. So
Do you know what I mean? So
favorite
3,
3.
not your favorite. I mean 3 that you think could be
No, the things that are going
really
to be
vital. Yeah,
very pivotal for sure.
and
I think
18 because I think 18 number 4's one, isn't it, for sure?
Number 4 for sure. I think 4 is just an absolute, like, it's going to be such a great match play hole. So a par 5 that's got this elevated tee.
Cut it across.
Yeah, you kind of have to. It depends on how far you hit it. The fairway runs out at about 320, 330. Except there's a lot of places like it gets really, really dicey up by the green. You could wind up 30 yards over the screen, like if you hit it too far, because it's like a downslope, and like it could go into to no man's land down there. So you can see a lot of variance. You can see eagles, you can see doubles very, very easily on 4. I really like 5 too. 5 is another one of my favorite holes. It's a long par 4.
Are you going to get them up on? Are you going to get them up on screen and share?
I can. I think. Let's see. Oops.
Let's have a little look at 4. Let's have a look at 5. Okay. Was the other one? Someone said to me 13 or 12, 12 or 13. I can't remember what it was. Was it really?
Yeah, 12 is pretty good too. Actually, yeah. Let me show you. Let me
I look forward to us editing this and trying to put out any promotional videos out of me either blowing my nose or crying.
Yeah. So yeah, this is number 4, the par 5 that I was telling you guys about. You can see there. It's got some interesting stats here. I definitely highly recommend going to the Ryder Cup YouTube channel and find this video about Bethpage. It's just like a really interesting, gives you a lot of stats. It tells you how far the run out is. And it's going to be really interesting. I think most players are probably going to try going for this green if they hit it in the fairway. Except there's a lot of interesting spots you can hit it. You can see that the backside, like if you go long, I mean, you could go down, you could go past that little path down there. It gets really interesting. 5 was the other hole that I mentioned. Long par 4, you got to kind of cut it across this bunker. It's just like a gorgeous tee shot. Like a lot of these guys, like this hole is a John Rahm special. Like John Rahm is absolutely going to dominate this hole because it's going to fit his eye. He's going to hit that fade down there. He's going to hit it 310, 320. He's going to leave. I'm assuming he's going to be teeing off, playing foursomes. I think he's going to probably do odd holes, which would make sure he hits it off of 5. So yeah, 5 is a great hole. And then, God, there's so many great holes though. I mean, you talk about 9. 9 is amazing. I mean, 8's good too. That par 3. 9 is great, which is a long par 4 with like this huge bunker that you have to carry on the left. Easiest fairway to hit, just a really cool hole. So it's got a pretty simple green overall. Like it's a very like kind of plain Jane green a little bit. It's very circular. There's not a lot of undulation on it, but it's an interesting hole off the tee. I'd say for sure. And then we could kind of go to, I mean, yeah, 12. I mean, 12 is really good too. I really love 12. God, I could talk about every hole, but Bethpage has no bad holes. Like that's one of the things I want to tell people. There's no bad holes at Bethpage Black. Not a single one. They're all, you play this course once, you will remember every hole. To me, it's a sign of a great course. Once or twice you play it, you see it on TV, you just have the visuals just ingrained in your head for the rest of your life. So this is kind of an awkward tee shot. It's a dog leg left. It's a long hole, 515. Birdies are very, very rare here for sure.
There's gonna be a lot of people hitting one out that thicker stuff on the right hand side, having bailed out a bit right or gone a little bit long, trying to hold a ball, getting a flyer into that green with bunkers left and right, a narrow entrance. That you can make not that you make a number, do you know what I mean? But you could
Mhm.
easily
No, I agree. Yeah, it's
you
going
could
to be
easily lose it on there.
a lot of variance.
Let's have a look at 17 and 18 because look,
Yeah.
it could all come down to, and I've
I
said it.
love 15 too. 15 is such
I
a
think
good hole.
I
You
think
come
we're
back
going to
across
get
the
to.
road. But yeah, no, we'll skip over the 17 because I mean, honestly, 15 is a great hole, 16 is a great hole. Except a lot of matches are going to come down to the last
Yeah,
two,
the par three, and they're going to move that. They're bound to move that flag forward, that tee forward
for sure. They're going to have a lot of variance, and again, this is where the numbers and the data are going to be really important with like what number they put it at. Some of these players have, particular strengths at certain yardages. They're going to probably move it up, move it back a little bit, depending on the session, all that stuff. And I think 17 is going to be a really pivotal hole. Like, I think it's going to be mostly pars on this hole, though. So, like, I don't think it's going to be a ton of variance because it's not like a ton of bad places you can really hit it. The worst they're going to usually make there is bogey. Like, you pretty rarely see.
Then you have 18. It's about the same sort of length as 18 was at in the team championships.
Yes, it's a little longer, but yeah.
Imagine
Uphill.
Sunday, Rahm and Bryson head to head. Oh, how delicious would that be?
We've already had it once. Why not have a rematch? I've been saying, like, the matchups that I want to see the most, if I could manipulate the Ryder Cup, the two singles matches I would want to see most are actually Bryson against Rory as a rematch of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst and Scotty against John Rahm.
Versus Rahm.
Those are the matches that I really want to see probably more than anything. And we're probably not going to get it because it's mostly a random draw unless they decide, all right, we're putting our best players out the first two spots. So we'll see. Yeah.
It's one of those where who do you front load, who do you back load, do you have an anchor? I don't like heavy loading the front because at the end of the day, it's total points. It's not like penalty kicks where, you leave a guy till the end and by the time he's had his kick, you've already lost. It's total points. That isn't a factor. I like the idea of two big dogs up front, two big dogs at the back.
Depends on where you are at that point too.
I would like to see Tommy Fleetwood go out first on the Sunday with Tyrrell Hatton, and I'd like to see Rahm and Rory the back two.
Interesting. Well,
I just think
European team is probably going to be down at least a few points going into it, just based off of the numbers and the historical averages on all that
your
stuff.
team's shit, mate.
But I said, like I've been telling people, it almost doesn't matter. Like they're still at a minimum threshold of players. They'll be fine. I just think they're going to manipulate stuff. They're running all sorts of simulations to say, okay, this is going to give us the best chance of winning. And I think it's too big of an advantage. There needs to be a neutral party setting up these golf courses that's going to make it more competitive and make it more even, because having home course on its own is already like a pretty sizable advantage, like maybe a point and a half. And you throw in the data, being able to set up the course and all that stuff, I think it's too big of an advantage. It's part of the reason why, like ever since data's been involved, the margins keep getting wider and wider and wider. This is not coincidental. This is a theory that I've had for a while. Last Ryder Cup, it was 5 points. The Ryder Cup before that, it was 10. Before then, it was 7. Before then, it was 6. Before then, it was 5. These are all the ones where data was taken into account. It started 2014. So it's something I want everybody to think about.
We'll see what
happens with the result. I hope that I'm wrong. This is one of the few situations that I hope that I'm wrong.
In the words of the great Colin Cowherd, it's not about analytics, it's about manalytics. And Europe are going to come over there and they're going to stamp all over Bethpage Black. They're going to rip those Americans to pieces. Europe.
That's what they told me 2 years ago, and I was like, I still think, and I bought into it. I bought into the whole thing. I'm like, oh, no, it's all about the players on the team and the matchups and all that stuff. I still think that the data now that has been proven wrong. Like I'm all
Let's
about
let's
the
hope
data.
it's not
So
down
we'll
to
have to
vice
see.
captain. Let's hope it's not down to vice captain. So you lot are fucked.
Yeah, if it was vice captains, I'm definitely taking Europe, no question about it. But yeah, so
An embarrassment of riches on the European team for vice captains because they've got the amazing group of vice captains and they haven't got Garcia, Westwood, Poulter, Keimer, and McDowell. Like it's an embarrassment of riches. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the Ryder Cup. Please do have a look at my social on Instagram and on Twitter. I will be doing a competition on both to win some Ryder Cup merchandise, and the one on Twitter will be slightly different to one on Instagram. I have had complaints, Jay, that I run a competition. I don't have prizes for each platform. So I now do have prizes for each platform. I've got one for Twitter, one for TikTok, and one for Instagram.
Yeah,
it's
Mrs.
the same prize.
PGC.
Same prize. I just got 3 of them.
Mrs. PGC has been tell me that I need to do more competitions and all that stuff, and I do have a lot of live merch to sort of give away. She'll probably be coordinating that at some point.
The problem
She's helping
is,
me out a little bit.
The problem is, right? If you had enough of the podcast, guys, just switch off because we're going to talk about social media. Oh, by the way, if you want a rangefinder, shotscope.com, golf lover at checkout. That's golf lover at checkout, shotscope.com.
Link in the description.
Link in the description. And do you want to do your full wellness one?
Not yet. I've given them so much free ads. They gotta come. They gotta represent soon before I give them any more free ads. So shout out for wellness though. It's coming.
Shout out Trendy Golf who always helped me out with my shoes. And obviously
shout out Ping. Shout out Callaway.
How's that driver going, by the way?
I haven't gotten it yet. Oh my god, I think it's coming next week. I can't wait. I haven't been playing golf because I'm like, yeah, I'm not hitting that other driver again. Like I gotta get this on the course.
But I don't know 2 people who love golf more and have played less in the last 2 weeks combined in 3 weeks than you and I have. I played once in 3 weeks.
Yeah, like I've been practicing, which like my short game is my short game in putting lab putter. I got that in the bag. I've been practicing the lab. The Vokies are working out great. So short game has become a strength, which was not the case even a year or 2 ago at all. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get the driver in, and then all of a sudden the long game starts to come on too. We'll have to see.
I was just saying quickly about competitions. What I find is that some of them really do really well. It's like a tweet or a post or anything. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why something does really well. But I put a post up on. TikTok about the Ian Poulter one, about Ian, that interview, the Ian saying, I want to get a point. Mm-hmm. And that's gone absolutely nuclear on TikTok. And I've only been on TikTok, for 5 weeks, 6 weeks? Barely got any followers. I've got no followers, like got 50 odd followers. Like, I've got 10,000 on Instagram. And on Instagram, that just died. Didn't do anything. I think it's got about 1,500 views. And on TikTok, it's 75,000. 75,000 off of 50 followers versus 1,500 off of 10,000 followers. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. But like sometimes with some of the competitions, I've done now the giveaway to play the Manor House. Either come and play with me and bring 2 mates, or take 4 of your mates, go on your own. No worries at all if you don't want to play with me. I've done that. And I did it once. I had 250 entrants. Done another time. I had 20. Mm. I gave away a Ryder Cup hat, which I got 3 more to give away. I had 160 entrants for Ryder Cup hat. 48 Pro V1s. I had 5 entrants. It's mental. There's no rhyme or reason with some of it. It's a bit like tweeting and posting and getting in the algorithm. It's I don't care whether people. There is an element of luck to things getting picked up.
Still feel like Twitter's the best place for that stuff. I really do. People hate on Twitter, except I still think that it's the one with the biggest reach.
But even on Twitter, look at the competitions, how some do really well and some don't.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's all I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to go to bed. I'm absolutely shattered.
I gotta go too.
I feel like
you
got to go to work. It's middle of the afternoon there. All right, take care, mate. Love you loads. Bye, everyone.
A long lunch. All right, see ya.